soil. Now we move on. The Kremlin has rejected Estonian allegations that Russian jets violated its airspace, calling the claims baseless and designed to escalate tensions. Moscow has stressed that Russian military pilots strictly follow international rules, insisting there has been no breach of Estonian airspace or any international law. This comes after, according to Estonia, 3 Russian MiG-31 fighter jets entered the Estonian skies without permission and remained there for a total of 12 minutes. Now we are joined by Professor Andrew Latham. He's a professor of international relations, joins us live from Minneapolis. Thank you, Professor, for joining us. Good to see you. Now, Russia is rejecting this claim made by Estonia. So what evidence has Estonia provided to support its claim, if any?
Well, the evidence is thin, but it's there. They've been tracking, NATO has been tracking, and the Estonian, in this case, Air Force has been tracking these incursions. There is some doubt on the margins regarding motives, but there is little doubt that the MiGs, in this case, have actually crossed the Estonian border into NATO airspace.
And how could this repeated airspace violations, whether confirmed or disputed, impact regional security over there and diplomatic relations between Russia and NATO members?
Well, to answer that question, of course, we need to get at the Russian motives. They have their hands full at the moment, one might argue, with the war in Ukraine. The last thing they need is an open militarized conflict with NATO or its member countries. And yet, whether it's drone incursions or now fighter jet incursions, we see it happening. So it's not just an accident, and it's not dismissible. These are happening, and then the question becomes why? And the answer, I think, is pretty straightforward. On the one hand, it's simply a matter of testing NATO's defenses. Are they up to the task of excluding the Russians in the case of a shooting war? But I think more importantly, it's about signaling resolve. The Russians are serious. Do not deploy nuclear-armed F-35s to Estonia, they're telling NATO headquarters in the US. It's also about kind of salami slice tactics in the sense of creating a new status quo. Yes, Russian planes are going to violate NATO airspace. What are you going to do about it? What they have done about it, of course, is invoke Article 4, they being Tallinn, the capital of Estonia, invoking Article 4, which calls for discussion within NATO. It is not Article 5, which calls for a military response. So all in all, it makes perfectly good sense for Russia to be doing this, but they're running a risk because one never knows if how NATO will react or if it will overreact and what kind of an escalatory spiral that might kick off. For the moment, though, I'm not terribly concerned. This is business as usual.
Right. Thank you very much, Professor, for sharing that. Please stay with us as we come back to you for our next discussion as well. Now we stay on this topic.